Going on, people? Shreds here with episode 9 of the Space Marines. That's right, the Space Marines, the one and only Space Marines. I'm gonna stop saying Space Marines now. Episode 9, so previous commentary just finished up the stuff I'm looking forward to of 2012. Topics for commentary are kind of limited. I want to try and push out this series as much as I can. So I'm kind of just going to be talking about whatever comes to mind. It's going to be free flow. There may be some silence here as I watch what's going on in the game, and I may just talk about what I see in the game. I'm going to try and keep it as interesting as possible. I'm going to try to not rant as much as I can, because, well, there are things that make me mad, and things that pique my interest. So we'll try and stay towards the more entertaining things as opposed to the mad things. So here we are working our way to activate this. I believe at this point we've picked up Inquisitor Drogon. I'm not sure. To be honest, when I have a topic to talk about, I'm not really watching the video as it's going, so I don't quite remember, which is a little embarrassing, but we'll figure it out as we go. Taking out this guy. I don't know what I was shooting there in the last couple shots. That was weird. The early stages of this game were not the most interesting, I'll be honest. Once we get the story to develop some more, then it gets a little more interesting as far as the gameplay goes. This game was not amazing in its first half, but it's a lot of setup and character development, which is okay. Let's see what else I can talk about. Yesterday, the 4th, October 4th, was actually the 2-week anniversary of the first video I posted, so I want to thank you guys for joining in on that one. Hopefully there will be many more weeks of video content to come, and hopefully we'll continue to grow from there. This being episode 9, I think I'm going to be somewhere in the 20s when the series is done. It's hard to say because I don't have all the videos edited out. As far as my process, I'll usually record the videos, edit them out in Premiere, Adobe Premiere, to get all my speed ups and stuff, and then I'll watch them in Premiere while I'm recording the audio as I'm doing now. Go back and make sure the audio fits to what I was talking about as I was syncing it. Mess with the levels a little bit, and then output it from Premiere to an encoded platform on my PC, and then upload to YouTube in chunks as I sleep. Okay, so I need to we're reaching Drogon now. Alright, that gives me a context as to where I am in the game. There is a cutscene right about here.
Inquisitor Drogon?
I am Drogon. And you are?
Captain Titus of the Ultramarines. We received your distress call, but you seem to have weathered the enemy's attack.
I am soldier and scientist, both, Captain.
What is the status of the experimental device?
The power source is running the entire manufactorum from the generator room.
This device is a fuel source, not a weapon?
It is a complex device and an unstable one. If the Orcs find it, they'll try and take it apart. It could detonate with enough force to destroy the entire planet.
Then we must move it to safety.
And for that, Captain, I need your aid. This way.
Okay. So that is the introduction to Inquisitor Drogon. He essentially has created this power source, a very mysterious object. They never really explain what it is until a little later on, and then they don't even give that much detail. But we'll let that develop.
Space Marine! You trying to steal my Titans? Steal my loot? I'll
There's the reintroduction into War Master Grimskull. You do end up fighting him later on in the game, as you guys will see. One thing that I was curious about the entire game and a little annoyed is I was trying to figure out why all of the orcs have an Australian accent. I thought that was a little weird. I was talking to a couple friends about it, and there may be psychological implications because it's something so different from the normal and the majority of the English-speaking world that this game would be released to. It would be something that's similar enough that they can recognize, but still something drastically different from what the usual is. That you could still kind of develop that hate relationship that you would with an enemy. So they kind of give it a human element with giving it an English-speaking voice, but an accent gives it enough unfamiliarity to still make it a valid enemy. The psychology is a fun thing. Let's see what else we can talk about here. There's some fast mode coming up. The execution animations get really interesting. In a little bit I actually pick up the Thunder Mace, which is a much larger, heavier weapon. Limits you to only single-handed pistols, but this thing can one-shot a lot of enemies, so it's quite fun. Execution animations get more interesting with that. Doing some fast mode running. Forrest Gump would be proud. The chipmunk voices of the fast forward. You do actually come to the point in the game where you have no more little Space Marine statues of upgradiness as you see there in the center. So I was not necessarily mad about that, but it comes to a point in the game where things are so developed that you don't really need it. Not that the game is incredibly easy at that point, it's just you don't need any more tools in order to fight the enemies. So I need to get back up to that platform. I'm the type of person that will always look for ammo type of things. I've noticed, especially with this Space Marines gameplay, that it does kind of drag out the gameplays a little too much. A little cutscene here. The shamanistic orc that summons the axe-wielding, shield-wielding orcs. Sorry, I got distracted by something there. I was kind of annoyed because these orcs have a hole they can see through, but you can't shoot through the hole. So that didn't make me a happy Space Marine. So I eventually just adopted the idea, this is pretty cool, bam, of just being a technique developed in Modern Warfare 2 when they introduced the riot shields. You just throw a grenade slightly behind them and it blows up and kills them. Works in Modern Warfare, works in this. Or I believe if you use your triangle or your Y attack, you can stun them and they kind of drop their shield a little bit. So those are helpful hints in fighting the shielded orcs. Enemy variety in the game was okay. They didn't do a whole lot of palette swaps, but there also was not a whole lot of enemy variety to fight. I'm sure if I thought it out I could come up with a count of enemies, but it wasn't an impressive number, so I'm not really gonna devote a lot of time to that. The ending of the game was quite epic, for those that are curious, so when we get to that point. After the ending, there is quite lengthy credits, which I'll probably fast forward through. There's nothing after the credits, unfortunately, so that's not incredibly interesting. But I'll give a full, comprehensive review at that point to what my thoughts were on the game. So what you can hear there from the chipmunk talk, as I fast forwarded that, is this is the area holding that main mysterious power source. And I'm always cautious when they put several reload chests or ammunition crates next to an area, because you can tell there's an event going to happen. And that event usually is not a good thing when there's a lot of ammo running around.
There. Primary shield is open, Captain. Head into the central chamber.
So I saw this console and I was trying to push the button. Apparently not a thing. So let's see what happens. Warboss Grimskull shows up, zaps into giant orc choppas, which I decide to adopt the normal run and gun. They yell even in an Australian accent, it's kind of funny. The Vengeance Launcher there I find to be situationally useful. Not amazingly good, but still useful. There was no one particular gun that was overpowered. There's one you get later on as a pick up and carry weapon, not so much one you can keep to your inventory. They call it a auto cannon, I believe. You could equate it to like a flak gun, one very large shell that fires in a semi-automatic pattern. Does a very decent chunk of damage. It's kind of funny, the War Master there just wants the sparkly thing, which is the power source. At this point I realize I'm kind of fighting a losing battle. They tend to overload you in situations where you're not supposed to fight it out. Like this guy just won't go down and they're spawning more of him. So I decide, screw it, pop my super angry mode. Oh, I just got a message on the Facebooks. Pick up the processor here, start a cutscene. Trophies. So what happens, they explain, as I'm talking over them here, the power source destroyed the room, dropped me down to the bottom of that building, and I have to crawl through the sewers to get out. But this is going to be into this episode. Episode 10 coming soon. Check out Space Marines, check out X-Men Destiny, check out Spiderman Edge of Time, and whatever else I've got running. Thanks for joining me, guys. My name is Shreds. This is a Top Knot production. You guys are all awesome. I'll catch you all in the next episode.